It's easy to get caught up in bad news and think negatively about your community. But what if you flip the script? What if you started looking at the positive things in your community and change the story? And that's the focus behind the grassroots group Pittsfield Prospers. And we're here to talk to them today about what they're doing to make Pittsfield seem better. With us is Virginia O'Leary and Leslie Appleget. I apologize. I went blank on your first name. And Winton, the Pittsfield Prospers poodle. Thank you for coming in today.
Well, thanks for having us.
So what was the idea behind Pittsfield Prospers?
Well, I grew up here in the 40s and 50s during the halcyon days of what we used to call the General Electric, as if the was part of the title. And I've been back for about 4.5 years. I left after I graduated from high school and had a career elsewhere. And I was very distressed when I came back and began to reintegrate into the community, hearing all the negative narrative about Pittsfield. It was not perfect in the 40s and 50s. It is not perfect today. But you cannot move forward while you're looking backward. And I'm a social psychologist, retired university professor, and I thought, what can I do to give back? And Pittsfield Prospers popped into my mind, and I thought, we as a community can change the narrative.
Well, that's an interesting aspect too, because I said, as a journalist, we tend to look in the bad things because that's what people want to know about. But there are a lot of good things happening.
Many.
And Leslie, how did you get involved?
Sure, I've known Ginny for almost 5 years now. I've lived on and off in the Berkshires since about 2015. And when I moved back and Ginny told me what she had going on, it seemed exactly what we really sort of needed. Because when I had originally moved here, I'd heard not so great things about Pittsfield, but then moved up to here myself. And, it's not as bad as that perception really makes it seem.
So what have you been doing to sort of change the story?
Well, we have a Pittsfield Prospers pledge, which essentially says, when I hear someone say something negative, I counter by sharing a positive story. Not getting in somebody's face and saying you're wrong, but simply providing an alternative perspective. Because when we're silent, people read that as agreement. We've had close now to 200 people sign the pledge. We've been tabling. We have a website. Winton is on the website under the button Winton Wednesdays, and also on Instagram every Wednesday. Somewhere in Pittsfield doing something that is kind of showcasing Pittsfield in some way. Welcoming Wayfair, for example. And we have also been holding meetups. We've had a youth meetup. Leslie moderated a millennial meetup last week. Tomorrow night at the Greylock new Community Empowerment Center on Kellogg Street from 6 to 7:30, there will be a Gen X meetup. And then on Tuesday morning at the Community Empowerment Center from 8 a.m. till 9:30, a Boomers and Beyond meetup, all focused on 3 questions.
And those are all for the week of November 12th.
The one tomorrow is...
What is going to be happening in December?
On December 5th, there will be an intergenerational meetup, which will bring together the demographics that have considered 3 questions. What do I treasure about Pittsfield? What would I most like to see change? And what am I willing to do to change it? And those perspectives will be shared.
Okay. How many people have been coming to your meetups?
Small groups, for sure. I'm hoping it gets bigger as we move forward. And in February, on the first anniversary of mounting this effort, Winton, Pittsfield's Prospers Poodle, and I will be hosting a PC TV show, Pittsfield Prospers, interviewing people like Leslie who have moved here and found out it's not so bad, like me, like me, who left for decades and came back, and I plan to live here for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and I think they're sort of, because of the GE leaving, and of course I'm from North Adams, so when the Sprague left, there was sort of, it became very pessimistic about what these communities could do. And I know in North Adams there's something called the NA Amazing Initiative, where, you know, the goal is to put something out and look on the positive aspects of the things that are happening in the community. So what are some of the positive things in Pittsfield that you're sort of spotlighting?
Well, first thing I want to say is General Electric left Pittsfield 37 years ago. And it of course it cast a pall over the community, but we have to move on. And in terms of positive things, I was inspired by Blueprint 2.0, which was
the One
released in
Berkshire,
February, the One Berkshire effort. Wayfair's here now with ultimately 300 new jobs. I mean, things are happening. We have new LED lights on North Street, makes it daylight at 11 p.m. There's a lot going on, and we have to highlight that and get beyond. And by the way, one of the reasons I'm focusing on demographics in these original meetups, younger people, millennials, for example, they have no idea what was lost. And it's like, why do you talk about General Electric?
Right.
Whereas people in my age cohort have very clear memories.
Right.
So, but it takes a community. Yeah. And I think all of the pieces are there. We just have to join together to move forward.
So, Leslie, how are you reaching out to millennials and people of your age?
Sure. I have the friends that I do, and I think all of us know Ginny in some way through this initiative, and recognize the fact that this is the place where we are and the place where we've chosen to be, and what is it that we can do to continue to make it a place that we want to be. A lot of what we do in my age bracket is online, but I don't think that we should undervalue word of mouth, and that's generally how the word gets around. And just to your point about what's positive about Pittsfield, the thing that comes first to me is look at Barrington Stage Company. They just celebrated their 25th anniversary. And while they were in South County for some time, they've been doing quality work here in Pittsfield for a very a while now. And why do we discount that? How do we manage this perception that there's nothing going on here, or there's all kinds of detriment when something as positive as that has existed here for so long?
Well, why do you think people focus on the negative? Because I've seen people, like on a Facebook page, that say, oh, this wonderful thing is happening, and people are like, oh, but. There's always that but. Well, how do you...
Well, I think it's mindless.
Yeah. Mindless.
And I think that's what we're trying to do by suggesting that there are a lot of things that are not in our control. But the narrative about our community is in our control. And with some awareness of the unintended consequences of the negativity, I think that we can move things forward, and we're trying to increase that awareness. And we do have, because of the broad demographic distribution, a communication problem. In the sense that older people rely on print, younger people rely on digital media of sundry kinds, be it Facebook or, other sorts, Instagram, Snapchat, and we have to somehow get the word out on all those channels, and that's challenging. And I've suggested that I'm going to get a truck an amplifier and a
Megaphone.
megaphone and start just going through the streets announcing things that there are to do here in Pittsfield. And I think people would be amazed. But here's the shocker. When it's in groups where I've said that, there's always somebody who says, great idea. Well, it's not really a great idea. But it speaks to the problem of disseminating information through multiple channels in order to focus attention on all of the positive things, because focusing on the negative stands in our way of progress. And that's self-defeating.
So you have a website?
We do.
You have a website. Do you have a Facebook page?
We do.
Okay, well, you'll be able to see that here on the screen. And you're going to be starting a show, Pittsfield Prospers, on PCTV.
That's correct.
Everybody watches television, right? Especially when it's on the internet, right? And what else? So do you have a newsletter or anything else that goes out?
We don't have a newsletter, but we do have occasional. I'm going to start some very short video clip interviews with people just talking about what they treasure. And let me tell you what the top 3 are.
Okay.
One is the community. Its diversity, its friendliness. I mean, there are many iterations of that. 2, the environment. What is not to love about the embrace of the Berkshire Hills?
Right.
And 3 is arts and culture. So the building blocks are here. We just have to promote them.
All right. That's great. Thank you for being with us. And everyone, check out the webpage, check out the Facebook page, go to a meeting, and think about the positive of your city.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.